Hi, my name is Cheri and you are in my studio, and this week I'm going to do a short little series on some of the new embossing folders that Stampin' Up! Has, especially the 3D embossing folders. So I'm going to be concentrating right now on the brick. It's a 3D brick. And so these are cards right here that I've already done tutorials on. So if you like any of these, you can go back in my videos and you can find those. So this was just one that I did when I was first messing around. It's on the terracotta, and I'm still intending to use this piece. It's been sitting on my desk for a minute. This was the first one I did, and it's a more subtle effect. It's on black, so it's just the black brick back there. And then I did this one, and it's kind of an ode to my office, although my office is much more white and far less espresso than this card, but it's kind of where I got the feel for it. And then this one is crumb cake brushed on some vanilla cardstock. And then today I'm going to do just plain white or vanilla. But all of those tutorials are already up. So the next one I will be doing will be the bricks, and I'm going to use this beautiful, it's called Seasonal Wreath. And I think when I first saw it in the catalog, well, when the catalog first came out, you couldn't get the folders yet. But now you can get, I think, all of them. If not all of them, most of them. But I think because it said seasonal, in my mind, it was a Christmas one. So I ordered it, and then when I got it out of the box the other day, I'm like, I can do some beautiful stuff with this now. It is not a Christmas wreath. So stay tuned for that one. That will be the video that follows this one, or tutorial. I may have, sometimes I stick some live videos in there. And then this is stunning. This one is completely stunning. And it is called the Magnolia 3D. And so if you are a little bit confused about our new folders, you'll want to go over to my blog. Maybe not that matches this video, but definitely in the next day or two, because I will explain all about the blue plate. And old folders, new folders, it's a little bit confusing because Stampin' Up! Has started making our own line of embossing products. So there's like if you have previous folders that were made by Sizzix, you don't need these. But if you order the same one that we used to have and now you have a new one, you'll need the blue one. So I'm going to put a little chart over there to kind of explain it to you. But let's get going on today's card. Like I said, I'm going to use the brick, and I'm going to use this beautiful magnolia. And you can see it has two. I'm just going to use one on today's card. So I'm going to get my die cut machine up here. And we'll do the die cutting first, or the impressioning on both of them. So there's a couple of tips and tricks when you use these. First, if it matters, according to the cardstock you put in, the Stampin' Up's always right side up. And then this line here ensures that it's straight. So especially with the bricks, you don't want them all cattywampus, so lay it in there. You don't need your thin die adapter if you're using this machine. And then if you have just the clear plates, you may need a shim of a few pieces, up to 5 maybe pieces of typing paper just underneath. Or you can just get the blue plate that will go for all of our new folders. So it just takes one roll through. The other tip, this is a very important tip. It's not even a trick, and it's not even really a tip. It's how you use the folders. You always send it through seam first, because if you send it through folder first, then you can bust your folders, which you can always glue them, like put duct tape on them to stick them back together, but you don't want to do that. You want them to look pretty. And sometimes then they don't line up right. So here's this, and we're just going to use them plain like this today. Beautiful, because I've done a lot of whitewash on them. So I wanted you to see that you don't have to do that. Now with this one, you can put in a full sheet of cardstock, but I don't need it because where'd I put my paper? Oh, come on, Cheri. How many people lose stuff right when they've already had it once on their desk? So you can see there's a big one and a little one. I just need this little guy here. So just make sure I have enough cardstock under the little one. And again, just the blue plate for this. And I moved it. It's all lined back up in there before I send it through. And again, crease side goes first, because if you do the other one, then the pressure of when the crease goes through, that's what can bust your thing. But because there's not any pressure when it goes through first, but listen to this. you know, when it pops it, that can pop your crease. That's why that happens. So look how beautiful this is. You're gonna love it. Is that not just stunning? It reminds me of my wedding invitations. They were calla lilies and they were embossed like that. And it's pretty much the same look. Okay, and then we are gonna use one that's a traditional die cut. And I have this foil, this from the Peacocks, the Peacock Suite. For it, I just need all of the traditional, everything you need on your machine to die cut, because this is just a die cut. So I'm gonna do it this direction. Whoops, well, I guess I need to put my plates on first. I'm gonna do it upside down because when you do the foil, they have those little dots in them for you to pop these things out, and sometimes it's not quite as much pressure, so you don't get all of those little holes in your foil. So just roll that through once, and you can see if you put it right in the middle, it's perfect. So now we have this, and then I'm going to use my take your pick. And I've got the pointy thing. So just pop one. You don't want to pop all of these on the foil. Again, you could scratch it up. You just want it to be pretty. And then because I did it that direction, there are some, you can see some little points on it, and I don't like those. I don't like the little points on them. So I'm going to put it right back on here. And I'm just going to send it through upside down, just like that. And that just flattens those right out. So now you can see it's nice and flat. You don't have those little holes. I mean, the holes are needed, the little circles are needed so you can have something to pop your design out for, but I don't like them on my foil. On regular cardstock, you don't notice them. So that's everything that we need. And you know, welcome to my stamp studio where I'm doing a card that has no actual rubber stamping. So there's no stamping on this card. So this is soft suede, just a half a sheet. And for this, literally just gonna put these bricks on here with nothing. So if you've seen my other videos and you thought, well, I really like those, but I don't want to go to the trouble of always having to put color on them, because well, on the black ones I didn't, but the more recent ones I have. So pretty just like that. So to highlight my flower, first I'm going to take it, because you know we only used part, and I'm just going to trim around it. And it's nice and embossed. It's got a huge, nice embossed image. So it's super easy to trim out. Just leave like an 1/8, a 1/16, just the same amount, as much as you can, border all the way around. Get that piece off. It doesn't take long to trim this out at all. And if you ask if there's a die, there's not a die, and you couldn't really use a die, because if you sent it back through to cut this out, then it would smash it, and it would no longer be the pretty embossed image that it is. But it doesn't take long. And in fact, you could do the big one too if you wanted to on this, but my card is kind of simple, and I wanted to go for the simple look. Now to color this in, we're gonna do one of my favorite techniques, and I've always done this mostly before if you've watched my older videos with Brusho, but now we have the Pigment Sprinkles, which are pigment powders, and they come in 6 colors. Today I'm just using 2. So I have the Granny Apple Green and the Mango, and then I have, these are Wink of Stellas that are empty, and I'm going to use the Champagne Mist shimmer paint. I'm just going to use what I get in the lid when I shake it. Get that out of the way. Get that out of the way. So first I'm just going to paint in my petals, and just do 1 petal at a time. That way that you can kind of control like the illusion of the shape of the petal. And you don't need a ton. You just want to brush over the lifted up part. And where it, like, so each petal, just get each petal. And this is going to lose 99% of its brilliant beauty in the camera because it's one of those, you know, we have a girlfriend who makes shirts. Well, she actually makes more shirts in our heads than what she makes in real life because we have lots of sayings that we would like for her to make for us on t-shirts. Some of them maybe not quite so appropriate, but sometimes when we think things that are less than appropriate, we just tell her we want that on a shirt. We would never wear it. But we would like a shirt that says, it's prettier in real life, because I would wear it for this card. Actually, today I'm camera ready, because I've been out to lunch. But this card I knew would take a tad bit longer because of this part. And when I do camera ready and I move the camera back and forth from my face down to the table, that just adds time. You don't need to see my face. You need to see this beautiful flower being painted in. So I'm just grabbing the petals first. And the reason I'm doing it first is because my brush is nice and clean. And then when I go to put color on it, it's not going to smear any color. When I did my first sample, I did the yellow. And then I hadn't really intended to do these leaves. But then when I laid the flower, just my brick background, and they're the same color of paper, there wasn't the flower didn't pop quite the way I wanted it to. So then I went back and added this. And so the first couple of strokes, only I would probably notice, but they have a tinge of yellow, of mango, because that was the last color that I used on my flower when I was painting the flower in. So if you live in Indy, this is actually going to be a camp card at my August camp. First camp card. It's always not every month. Some months they just come to me like, I know this is what I'm gonna make. But now we're at the stage where we still have a lot of stuff I haven't used from the annual catalog, and the holiday catalog is going to be, you know, here in September. So I'm like, what do I most want to use? So this is the Mango Medley. This is a block that I have lots of pigment sprinkles that I put on, and here is those. So just pretend I've tapped easily. I'm not going to put any more on because I tapped a bit much yesterday when I tapped. So the secret to this, and it is a secret because if you do this and you put, I am a more is more person. If there's anybody that's more is card making, it's me. But if you do more is more on this, you're gonna be sorry. Actually, here's my mango right here. You just want the tiniest little tidbit on there that you can, because otherwise it's all gungy. And see how much mango that is? Otherwise it's gungy and it will just cover everything up. And then all of your stuff, whether or not you're painting this, the first card I showed you that has the black background, the Bloom and Grow, you can watch me paint that in. And at camp, I can tell that they put colors where they weren't supposed to be. That's why I can't use the mango, because it's got blue in it. But if you just put a teensy bit, it's plenty to paint with. See that Harley has any. See how much that is, even though it looks like it's nothing on your brush. Like, you seriously just want the tiniest little bit. And then you can kind of move it around with your pigment sprinkles. With your shimmer paint. And see, it gives a beautiful effect. But if there's too much, then it's just going to cover up all the detail of that raised up design that you just put through So there's my mango. And because we're doing this at camp, and because they just need a fraction, I'm going to just switch pens, because I have way too many of these that are used Wink of Stella, because Wink of Stella is my jam. I love it. So then this right here, it was also the same with the Granny Apple. When I started to paint with it, I realized somebody mixed some Bermuda Bay in it. That's okay. It's a learning curve. But I wanted my leaves to just be green. So again, just grab some of the shimmer paint. And then just a tiny fraction. And the Granny Apple Green, that's why I thought it was mango, does look like it's pink when you pull it out of the powder form until it gets wet. And then you're like, oh, that is green. So you want it to be nice and wet because then it goes down, this leaf, when it goes through the embossing folder, has like veins in it. And I want it to get the veins. And see, now I'm mostly just working with the shimmer paint and moving the green that's already on there around. I don't need any more green. The green's nice and bright. And it also helps you to get it off your brush if I was going to switch to another color. But for camp, the girls can just use this for green, and I will mark them. I mean, it's obvious this one's green. So this, hopefully you can see it. Hopefully it's not just beautiful in person. And I will try to do, always with these, I try to go over to my Instagram and I do a little camera shot where I get in better light, like natural light, and just move around so you can kind of see the shimmer on those. And then if you have colors that have gotten into your lid because you had a little bit too much pigment sprinkles on it, just grab a tissue or something and get that out, especially if you're using the white. But it's not as big a deal with the champagne mist, but over time it would color that. So let's go back to our card. I'm gonna take my thank you and just put some snail back here. I'm sad that we no longer have the adhesive sheets because that's what I would have put on. So if you have those at home, use that when you put these through. So there's my thank you. And I'm just gonna take some of these, and I'm gonna be careful because I think it's probably dry. But if I was making this not on camera, I would have given it just a second longer, but it just needs a couple of dimensionals to hold that on here. Turn it my way so I can put it where I most want it to be. So add that, and then I'm just going to add some ribbon. So I have some ribbon just that is pretty and matches the color scheme of the card. So I have the crushed curry crinkled seam binding, which if you don't have this ribbon yet, it's beautiful. This is from the Magnolia Suite, and it is a 2-pack of ribbon, and I'm just going to use the, I think it's probably olive twine. And then this is our white polka dot tulle, which I love to dye, and the first time I did it on Facebook. It's got a zillion trillion hits on it, so you can go over to my Facebook page to see how I did it. But this is dyed mango, and I'm going to have to dye another roll of it to use, but you do a whole roll. And if I have videos on that, so I'm not going to talk about it here. If you haven't seen it, go over to my Facebook. I think if there's one, I'll have it pop up here. I can't remember if I have it on YouTube or if it's just on Facebook. But it's dyed so then it matches this color. You could use white too, but I really like the way that the mango looks. So to get these to go on here, take your pick tool, take a glue dot, and then with all of these, kind of do like a loop. Like you don't want it to go straight on because you want to get like as much as your ribbon to show. So we have one of those. Then we just need one of these. This is also great for those of you that like to save these little scraps of ribbon. Like if you have a little jar, you know, it looks so pretty to put it all just in a ball jar, and you're like, oh, this is not enough to tie a bow. You don't need enough to tie a bow to get a really pretty result, because if I wasn't doing this at camp, obviously when you're doing it at camp, then you need a whole spool. But see, I have another little bit here. And then take your twine one and do a double. So it doesn't need to be long. So double it like this. So we need 2. But I'm just going to do it at once because, you know, who wants to waste their glue dots on this, and it will hold it. Well, now they're on my table. So there's some straight ones down here. So just put these here. And see it, then it will hold all 4 of those. Okay, so now we have our ribbons, and see they're all ready to go. So let's start with the curry because it's the darkest. So just grab another piece of ribbon and then kind of lift up on that, stick it down in there. And when you pull it back out, kind of like grab the glue dot so it stays under. Let's get this random one that's still down here. Again, put that there. Lift this up over here. Oops. You have to kind of hold it because the glue dot will come back with you. So we've got that. Then we just need one more for our twine piece. When you do the twine piece, go to the opposite side of where you put the glue dot that's holding it all together. See, that's why now it's stuck to my table. Because you want, since you've got so much twine there, you wanted to make sure it's all being held. I'll do this one with my finger. So just lift this up. And I'm gonna arrange it all once it's all stuck under here, but I'm just sticking it first. So just shove that under there. Make sure all the ends are underneath. That's why this is great, this little tool. If you don't have a take your pick, then you need to get one. Okay, now that it's all here, kind of mess with it. I don't want my olive pieces to be right together, even though they're one piece. Just want them to kind of look flowy. And then if you think you need another glue dot anywhere to hold it, I'm gonna try to get this to go under. There we go. So now you have a little bit of ribbon, a little bit of shimmer. Here's my one where I've messed with the flowers a second longer. Oh, I forgot the last touch. I thought it needed like a little bit of dark. So I took my the soft suede blends and I took the dark one. I thought about using a light one too, but I ended up just using the dark. And then these are just our basic pearls, and you know you can color them with the blends. So I just colored them. Let's do this one here. I did one big and two little. But you can color the pearls or the rhinestones or anything with the blends, and it will dry because they're alcohol markers. There we go. And I thought it just needed something on that white, the vanilla brick to set it off. There you go. Super simple card. Is that not simple? And you could like run a bunch of the magnolias through and put them down, you know, have them down wherever you sit on the phone, or if you're out at the kids' game, and just grab a tiny bit of the pigment sprinkles or cut them out, you know, and kind of do it in stages, and then have a whole bunch of thank you cards ready that you just assemble later. So that's what I have for you today. So check back. I'll have at least 2 more cards in my series of the folders. Have a great day. Bye.